Hi everyone, I'm Vlad Plotnikov and I'm a composer of the Foxtail, a Ukrainian indie point-and-click adventure game. It is a classic quest inspired by the mid-90s games with a cozy and nostalgia-inducing vibe. Foxtail tells the story of the cute young fox Leah, who goes on a journey to find a cure for her grandmother. It has already become a comfort game for so many players, and I have the absolute honor of composing music for it. That's why I would love to show you how Foxtail's soundtrack was created. It all started at the end of 2018 when I discovered a lead developer's post in a random Facebook group seeking a composer for a narrative-driven game. Somehow I immediately felt it would be an exciting project. After some communication, I understood how much the soundtrack meant for the game overall and personally for the developers. It was said to be a vital part of the Foxtail atmosphere and mood. So once we found a shared vision, I was more than ready to start working. However, right from the start I have to face a challenge. The game's first chapter was already released and it had music. Moreover, the game's community liked it, so I had to perform at my best to offer them another tune to love. That's why we started by creating a brand new main theme, Spread Your Wings and Fly, and releasing it on YouTube to introduce the community to the new sound. Then the first chapter of Foxtail was re-released with a new soundtrack, followed almost immediately by the second chapter. In the beginning, the reviews were mixed, to say the least, but as weeks passed by and players advanced in the story, we began receiving more positive feedback. Since then, I received nothing but love from the game's fans. By the way, they encourage us to release the soundtrack across all the streaming platforms, and it's also available as a DLC. But let's dive into the creative decisions behind Foxtail music. It feels right to start with the root of all, the main theme. Honestly, to this day, it's my personal favorite, even though 5 years ago my creative process was completely different from how I compose music now. I truly felt how this theme had to turn out. I wanted this track to embody Foxtail's essence, its coziness, nostalgia, mesmerizing atmosphere and adventureness. We had several conversations with the lead developer about the main narrative and plot twists, and yes, this means I knew all the spoilers from the start. I created this theme as the project's DNA, meaning it has a story arc within it, Leah's spirit and the feelings the game induces within players. Also, it is designed to be scaled for many other themes and characters. It basically served as a music concept for the game. The latter made my life much easier, by the way, because composing 90 minutes of music isn't the easiest task, but I will tell you more about it later. The main theme defined the rest of the soundtrack and introduced its music vocabulary. Harp, ethnic percussion, woodwinds and strings became the leading instruments. The key, harmony and sonic patterns dictated how other themes would develop. And of course, the melody was at the heart of it all. I'm really a melody-oriented composer, so I had to come up with a melody that would immediately catch attention and be easy to remember and recognize. Well, after all these years, several covers and remakes from the game's fans, I can proudly say that we succeeded. The moment I heard the daughter of the developers singing the main theme, it melted my heart. Oh, and also, this melody appears in the game quite a few times, in many shapes and forms, and it's always rewarding for players to recognize it. As I already told you, I have been composing for Foxtail for the last 5 years, and this game has around 90 minutes of music, so it's evident there had to be an overall music concept I mentioned before. It served two purposes. First, even with the new chapters, characters and locations coming up, there always was consistency in how everything sounded, and I hadn't to start from scratch each and every time. Second, it was much easier for me to return to this project after some breaks. I wasn't composing all the time for 5 years after all. This concept grew from the main theme and was defined by it. However, it always left space for experiments and new elements. For example, most of the characters in the game have their own unique sound. It could be an added element such as a melodic pattern, an instrument choice, a key, a tempo, whatever. Korsak, a friend of Leah's grandfather, features a clarinet and a different key in his music theme. Traveling musicians have a hand drum in theirs, and there is a ship bell in the theme of Justin, the fairy fella. You get the idea. Of course, there were challenges during this collaboration. Many were resolved quickly as we established a tight connection with the lead developer, but there was one specific that was difficult to overcome. My skills have developed greatly since I started working on Foxtail'S soundtrack. That's why it was difficult to tame myself and not break the creative frame we set for the project. I wanted to experiment with keys, melodies and instruments, and sometimes it led to something beautiful that still sounded like Foxtail. But other times we had to put specific demos aside or entirely rearrange them. However, as the story unfolded, the soundtrack also changed a bit. The main task was adding this bit while respecting the concept. So yeah, there were some bumps along this long road, but I hope we did everything we could to make players fall in love with the soundtrack again as the new chapters get released. Well, about falling in love with Foxtail'S music. I share it with you that the main theme has the ultimate soft spot in my heart, as well as in the developers. And of course, I love them all, but if I had to choose one, it would probably be Sea Shanty, a Justin Fairy Bither theme. I catch myself humming it most often. The developers told me that their other favorite is from the upcoming chapters, so I'll keep it a secret for now. And as for the game's audience, here are their top favorites. Spread Your Wings and Fly, Traveling Entertainers, and Sunshine in Foliage. I'm going to wrap this video up by saying that together with the Foxtail team we have overcome numerous challenges, including the COVID pandemic, the beginning of a full-scale Russian invasion in Ukraine, the moment that the core developers Artem, Vanda and their daughter managed to leave Izum at the last minute before it was occupied, the changes within the team, the hate from Russians on Steam and much more. But I'm grateful for every second of this adventure, and I know it's not the end. I hope you will love this game as much as I do, so give it a try if you haven't already. Glory to Ukraine, support Ukraine.